Solve the following equation and check for extraneous solution. Now, when I look at this problem, I say, okay, I have an equation with logs. I have two logs on the left-hand side. Therefore, I'm going to combine both logs into one. That'll give me log base 2. And because there's same addition in between, that means I'm going to have to multiply. I'm going to multiply my w and my w plus 2. That's one of the properties for logs. That if it's adding two logs, we can combine it into one, we can condense it into one, and multiply it out. Equal to the log base 2 of 24. Now that I have a log on the left and on the right, I can get rid of the log. The opposite of log is a base. That cancels. Therefore, I have w squared plus 2w is equal to, that cancels, 24. I'm going to move my 24 to the left. I'm going to move my 24 to the left. We can say negative w squared plus 2w minus 24 is equal to 0. I have a equal to 0. I can try to factor. If I can't factor, I can complete the square because there's no number as a leading coefficient, and this is even. But I believe I can factor this out. That'll give me w and w. 24 will be 6 and 4, positive and negative. I'm going to use my zero product property. I have w plus 6 equal to 0. W is equal to negative 6. W minus 4 equal to 0. W is equal to 4. Now they both are listed in here. Now remember that whenever we take the log, this will have to be positive. So negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. And you can't take the log of a negative number, so that cannot be it. 4 plus 2 is 6. That's perfect. Just double check to make sure that you check for extraneous solutions. Extraneous solutions means that there are times that whenever you get value, that will make this a negative. And you cannot take a log of a negative number or 0. It has to be bigger than 0. Let's continue to the back side. Problem number 9. We have an equation and it looks pretty simple. So I'm going to draw the line, move my 6 to the right, becomes a negative 6. Therefore, I have 2 to the power of x is equal to 10. I want to get rid of a base. To get rid of a base, I'm going to place a log base 2 on the left, log base 2 on the right. The log base 2 and the 2 cancels. I have x is equal to the log base 2 of 10. Therefore, my answer is D. Problem number 10. I have another equation that involves a log. It says if log base 5 of x is equal to negative 2, what is the value of x? So we need to solve for x. I want to get rid of the log. The opposite of a log will be a base on the left and on the right. That cancels. X is equal to 5 to the negative 2 power. I want to be able to simplify because that's not one of the answers. So I have to remember, okay, what happens when I have a negative exponent? We have x is equal to, because we have a negative exponent, we're going to place it under 1 and becomes a positive exponent. So I have x is equal to 5 to the second power gives me 25. Letter C. On problem number 11, simplify. We have a fraction, a rational expression, and we need to be able to simplify this out. So we need to be able to factor the numerator. We need to be able to first take out the common factor. So let's see, what number divides 5, 40, and 80? So is there a number that divides 5, 40, and 80? Yes, we can factorize 5. Now let's look at that. How many x's can we take out? Is there I have 2, we have 1, and an x. So I can factorize an x. Let's try the y's. I have 1 y, 2 y's, and 3 y's, so I can factorize 1 y. What's left? What do I need to multiply 5xy to get 5x cubed y? So let's 5 times y is 5, 1. How many more x's do I need? 2. And how many more y's do I need? Just none. 5 times y will give me negative 40, will be negative 8. I have 1x, I need 2, so I need 1 more. Y's, I need 1 more. Well, 5 times y will give me 80, so I'll be 16. And I have 1x, I need 1, so I don't need any more. Y's, I have 1, I need 3, so I need 2 more. Denominator, nothing to factor out, so we just have 5xy. Notice that they both cancel. Now the answer is not here still, therefore we need to still factor this out. Double parenthesis, factors of 1x squared will be x and x. Factors of 16y squared will be 4y and 4y. This is a positive, so they both should be same sign. They need to add up to a negative 8, so they both should be negative. And because they're exactly the same, I can combine it into 1 with a square outside. Problem number 12. Which of the following is simplified form of the following expression? So which of the following is the simplified form of the expression? We have 1, 2, 3 logs. So I'm going to combine all 3 logs into 1. I'm going to place a big parenthesis. I notice that there's a minus, so I know it's going to be a division. I'm going to multiply 12 times 4 will give me 48. And I'm multiplying it because there's a plus in between. This is a minus, so the 2 will be on the denominator. Now, many of you guys are selecting letter C as your answer. But we need to be able to simplify. 48 divided by 2 will give me 24. But many of you guys are selecting letter C, which is incorrect. Remember, we're going to go from 3 logs into 1, not 2 of them. Problem number 13. What are the solutions to the equations? Let's say I have an equation. Therefore, I want to be able to factor the denominators. So let's rewrite it. We have 1 plus 2 over x is equal to, I'm going to move my negative to the numerator, and I'm going to factor the x squared as x times x. Now my restrictions, and they're not mentioned in here, but my restrictions, we know that x cannot be 0 because that will make it undefined or give you an error. I need to find my LCD. My LCD will tell me what do I need to multiply each one of them to cancel the denominators. Remember, the whole purpose when you have an equation and you have fractions, the first thing that you need to do is you need to cancel the denominators. So let's say I want to cancel this, that gives me x. Now in the next denominator I have this x, that will cancel with this one, but I want to cancel 2 of them, so therefore I'm going to have x. Multiply each one by x times x, x times x, x times x. You want to be able to multiply by the same thing on all 3 of them, so the equation remains equivalent. On the first one, we just have x, x, and 1, no denominator, so we just have x squared. On the next one, 1x cancel, so we have a positive 2x. On the last one, they both cancel, so it's equal to negative 8. Now, if you look at the answers, we're not going to be able to factor this out. There's no number as a leading coefficient, and there's a 2. This is even. So we can complete the square. Let me make some space so I can complete the square. To complete the square, you're going to take half of 2, which is 1, and then you square. 1 times 1 gives me 1. And I do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to factor this out. double parenthesis, and that gives me negative 7. So factors of x squared will give me x and x. Factors of 1 will give me 1 and 1, and they both should be positive. Because they're exactly the same, I can combine it into 1. Now to get rid of the square, I'm going to take the square root on the left and on the right. The square root and the square cancel, so I just have x plus 1 is equal to, I have a negative number, so it's going to come out as an I. Whenever you have a negative number inside the square root, you have an imaginary number, and you can end up with a plus or minus. Last thing, I'm going to move my 1 to the right, becomes a negative. So I have a negative 1 plus or minus I square of 7. Now be careful because all of your answers look very similar. So let's see, I have an imaginary, so I know it's not A and it's not D. The first number is negative, therefore my answer is D. Problem number 14. Which product is equivalent to the following rational expression? So we need to factor it out and see what cancels to simplify. First, I'm going to factor the numerator. So let's see, one number divides, take out a common factor, one number divides 3 and 75. I can factorize 3. And what's left? We are going to have a x squared minus 3 times y 75, 3 times 25. I still need to factor this out. This will be the difference of two squares. So I'm going to deal with my denominator in a second. So I made 3. I'm going to factor this out. 1, 2. Factors of x squared will be x and x. Factors of 25 will be 5 and 5. 1 negative, 1 positive. Now, the denominator. If you notice, this is not written in the correct format. This should be a negative x, then a positive 5. I want to factor the denominator. I'm going to factor in negative 1. You don't want your x to be negative, so it'll be x minus 5. Your x minus 5 cancels. So I just have a 3 x plus 5 divided by negative 1. I can just transfer my negative over here. 3 divided by negative 1 is negative 3. So your answer will be